Hi everybody, it's me Andrew here at Allegory Gallery. I'm here joined with Allison Adorns and Laurel Ross. Today we've got a special Facebook Live event and we thought we would share it with you. So one of the things that we've done since we've started the store is we've done these kits. And we've probably done, 70 kits.
It's been a lot.
How many years?
And they've been a blast.
Yeah, they sometimes even more than one a month. It was a while. One of the challenges, though, is that sometimes I want to do a kit, but I don't want to make so many of them. So one of the things that we started to do or thought about doing is doing smaller runs of special edition kits. And we would premiere them here.
Exciting. I know.
So we're going to be unboxing our latest kit. If you're interested in this kit, they are live now on the website. That's allegorygallery.com, and you get the first dibs on this exclusive kit. So without further ado, let's unbox this. So usually we give little instructions on what to do. This is not a traditional kit in the sense that usually with the kits we do a reveal date. There's no specific reveal date. So if you make anything you want, you can post it whenever you want. Also, there isn't a mystery component because we're here. So there's no mystery.
Mariella Siegel says hello.
Hello, how are you? All right, so now here's the goodie. We included a luxury bead blend. We've been making these for years. Actually, we started making these with Cynthia, and she used to have these little plastic acrylic boxes, and I had just so much fun making them with her that I decided to bootleg my sister and make my own versions.
It's really cool.
Well, it's fun. It's like blending spices. So no two people will be exactly the same.
Jamie Yoshida says aloha.
Aloha. We hope to see you this winter, Jamie. And so Jamie will recognize these. They're these wood laser engraved pendants. These ones are a part of our new lineup of things that we're producing in-house. We just got a laser, and we've been making all kinds of goodies. So I thought that since it's going to be fall here, maybe not for you guys out in Hawaii,
Not in Hawaii.
but definitely in southwestern Pennsylvania, the leaves are already starting to turn. But it's not quite full-on autumn yet. It's not that glorious reds and golds and
Not yet.
not yet.
Our fellow biz champion Jessica Harris is tuning in too.
Cool.
Hello. Hopefully you're okay and you didn't have any problems in North Carolina. I know there was a lot of flooding.
Yeah, the weather.
And congratulations on your Bob Evans Award.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And meeting Damon from Shark Tank.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you guys have dogs. She does treats for dogs.
Oh.
And
neat.
it's a veteran-owned business.
Neat.
So there's those, which we will revisit these in a little while with a plethora of different techniques. We've got a strand of orange or red aventurine, it looks like.
It's really pretty.
Chip is fun, you know. I think it's one of the first things a lot of people work with. I think it's a good foundation. It's a good thing that you can mix in. We've also included some wax linen.
That's my favorite.
You can have mine, Allison.
There's also lots of training
my
in the
style.
garden. We do lots of
my
training.
style here.
Well, that's the fun thing when you're making things with a group.
Yeah.
So let me dump all this goodness out. So I've got, if you go to allegorygallery.com and you go to this online store section, you can see all of the things that we have in the kit all laid out.
Ooh.
Instead of a jumble like this. So we've got all the different components. We've got some vintage plastic. There's some green aventurine. There's some more vintage plastic. There's some vintage glass. There's some crystal. Some hand-carved lucite.
Those are gorgeous.
We've got some vintage Japanese glass. There's some ceramic. There's some Czech glass. There's some pyrite. This is Austrian glass.
What are these carved ones there?
Yeah, I got one of those too.
They're vintage plastic.
There's a really cool one in the luxury bead blend too.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good.
It looks like this.
Yeah,
Pretty
show.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
They're
I
all
always like
dumped
to
out.
dump it out and see what I've got so that I can see what, I mean, that's just my kind of thing. I always like to organize it. And Allison and I always used to just kind of split a kit because there's so much in a kit that we could do that because we're local. And it was really fun whenever Allison's better at separating
Multiple
it than
projects.
I am. But it's funny because she strings completely different than I do. So that's
Well,
what's really cool about these kits.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of projects with
I
them.
think everybody has their different style. And then the last piece in the separate kind of component mix is this pewter piece. My sister, she carved this, Cynthia Thornton of Green Girl Studios. So this kit is extra
Wow.
fancy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now, there's also a polymer bead that I made.
Closer.
It's really pretty.
There you go.
Right there.
Tell me, William, tell me. All right,
Can't reach that
so
far.
cameraman, do
The
good.
cameraman's literally doing yoga to get
Suzanne
these
Ward
poses.
says hello, and Jessica said flooding all around, but she's safe in Raleigh.
That's
Oh,
cool.
good.
And who else?
Neelay's with us, and Drake Lick is with us.
Oh boy, it's a
Oh,
full
yeah.
Denise
house.
is with us.
Denise!
We just saw Denise. We said she would stay, but maybe next time. So this is a technique that we learned with Heather Powers, actually.
Neelay
With
said
Caney.
that polymer bead is fantastic.
It
It
is.
really is
Thanks.
beautiful.
And if you don't know Neelay, he has beads and bubbles. Is it bubbles and beads or beads and bubbles? Well, anyways, there's some bubbles and there's some beads. And he also has silver silk, which is a really cool stringing material.
We need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
Neelay come up
Yeah.
That'd be
in
fun.
his spare time. And then we've got some vintage seed beads. And I think these ones are called Grise, which sounds weird. They sound like they're greasy.
They look,
But-
they look like Vaseline. They do look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like
They're
Vaseline
from
glass.
France in the old times.
They're cool.
Don't tell me what specifically the old times, but so anyways, so
Beads
this
and
is
bubbles. Beads and bubbles.
beads and bubbles. You can tell I've had some bubbles
Bubbles.
already.
Is this what's
Too
being
clumsy
at,
nerves.
Hobby Lobby now?
No, that one is not.
That's special.
Yeah, our friend Jess, that we work with a lot, she actually makes these, and so Cynthia designed that for Jess,
Oh, wow.
and so I picked that up in my recent trip to Minnesota.
Oh,
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll be seeing Jess again.
Do you know what
in-
size the vintage blue beads are?
They're
Neelay's
about a
asking.
size 6. I figured that for this unboxing, if we had anything smaller than a 6, we might be here a long time.
Well, there's in the bead blend.
We're
there's
holding you
always-
captive.
Well, those are for later.
Yeah.
You're for your own particular
Suzanne Ward
use.
joined late, wondering how to get a box.
Go to allegorygallery.com and go to our online store. If you go to the online store, there's also lots of charms, gemstones, there's glass, there's vintage domino tiles, there's mahjong tiles, there's things.
All our wooden pendants are there,
All of our wooden pendants.
with the exception
so.
of that one. You gotta buy the
Yes.
kit to get that one.
Yeah.
This is special. So actually, I'm gonna ask William to show you guys the wooden pendants while we get situated. Some of the wooden pendants.
So what
So
are you
these-
thinking about doing, Allison?
I always use my wooden.
Oh yeah, here's mine.
What do you want to trade?
Nothing.
Look at this one. Do you have any of these leaves?
Oh yeah, I do. How many do you want?
No, I was gonna say you can trade some of those.
Okay.
I'll have a couple in that
There's
color.
so many things you
Here,
can do
look.
with this.
I have 3 different kinds of leaves.
I'm just gonna do my regular old simple string, I think.
I like the
think-
large whole beads.
I'm gonna start off doing some of the show how to make headbands.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
To make earrings out of the kit. Because you can get multiple earrings. Resale.
Earrings for days.
Yes, tons of earrings. You know, I was never a
That
huge
was-
And
fan
all of these wooden
earrings
pendants
until,
are available on our website
You know, you started
under the
saying
AG
that,
Wooden
and then
Pendants
you have all these
section.
little onesie-twosies that make the best little combos. And then I fell in love with it.
You can make your money back in a minute with making earrings.
What?
You
Sell your
sell.
stuff?
This is one of my favorites.
Some people sell their stuff.
Hoard
King
it.
Kitty.
Some people hoard their stuff.
My pretties.
If you're done, William, you can come back over here.
You're ready? Ready for me?
Ready.
I only showed a small portion, but
Oh.
they are all on the website.
So I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but Laurel and Allison were talking about how the kits are really great because there's a lot to choose from, and you can easily make earrings, which we kind of do this thing that's called price per wear. So you can make a pair of earrings and resell those and easily make up the cost of your kit. That's you, but the kits are very affordably priced.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, they're a steal. Really.
And actually, they're if you would like more of the mix, I think there's more of the mix available. Those are $10 each.
This color.
That's it.
Perfect
Um,
amount.
Well, good.
So no,
Someone's
scratch
been
that.
waiting for a while. But there's other
No.
mixed colors.
There are.
Yeah.
So get a kit while you can.
Yeah.
Yes, and those are $20. And it's if you broke it down really, so this is $2 for the wax linen retail, $10 for the mix retail, $2 for this retail, $8 for this retail, $3 to $4 for that retail, and then all of this is probably about
And your pet.
Mary
5 or
Ellen,
6.
Mary Ellen Siegel said she was just going to say the price was very reasonable.
Yeah.
It really is.
Especially
then-
the 2 handmade components.
Oh yeah.
3 if you count. sometimes.
3.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is $8. This is probably a $10 bead, or more, depending if you're famous or not. I'm not famous
Save it
for
till
that.
save it
So,
till they get famous.
and then this mix is a lot. This is 5 little dishes, those tiny little round dishes worth, where 3 of the triangles. Or 1
3
bag.
triangles.
Yeah, we retail that for 10 alone.
Wow.
So you're getting it's pretty much wholesale. So maybe I should adjust the price.
Do you do flex pay?
Like,
Only 3 easy payments of.
it's like, oh,
We're almost
maybe
on
I should
QVC
overthink
here.
this.
Yeah.
Well, the cat's out of the bag.
Well, good job. Get it now before the price goes up.
Now that we've thought that out on live TV.
And there's only 10 of these.
William's like, what?
So,
What are you doing?
I know. They're like, quiet.
Oh.
So I've got some 24 gauge copper wire, and I'm going to show you how I make copper head pins because I think they're really fun. The decorative, it adds a little decorative touch to it. It's a handmade thing. It doesn't look as manufactured, which if you want to go that route, that's fine. I definitely use manufactured head pins. But to add a little bit of zhuzh to it, I do make my own head pins occasionally. Now, I will say before we start, I have the wrong pliers.
Oh.
Usually you would use heat-resistant tweezers. The reason why is because metal, surprisingly, conducts heat. And you've got these nice rubber guards that get kind of icky over time. And you can burn the tips of your pliers. However, these were not expensive pliers, so I do not feel remorse in doing this. Now, if it was Lindstorm, I'd be like, guess what? We're not making head pins today. If it was Swanstorms, I'd be like, well, sorry. We're not going to do that today. So, depending on how big you want your ball, you will adjust your length accordingly. This is probably, I'm going to cut about, 3.5, 4 inches. That's more like 3.5. And I'm going to make sure that there are no Stevie Nicks belt sleeves involved.
Oh.
Long flowy
Whoa.
hair.
Yeah.
Leave that.
I
Leave that
don't have
behind,
to worry
huh?
about that. But we're also going to make sure that everybody around us knows what I'm doing so that I don't catch
Flame
them on fire.
Thank
We're
you.
getting the flame on.
Don't burn your neighbors. Don't burn teacher. Especially don't burn teacher.
Don't burn the cameraman.
Yeah.
Don't burn camera. Don't burn the building down.
You have used a torch once before this, right?
Yeah.
Don't
This
burn the
isn't like your
beautiful
first
art
time,
on our
right?
wall.
Okay.
Just a few.
Just checking.
All right. So I've got my torch. I've made sure to add the best butane that I can afford, because if you use not so good butane, it will make your torch not last as long. Also, you
know
can
that.
smell
I didn't
it.
either.
I don't
Oh,
know.
it
I
probably
just make
does
stuff up.
Oh, you're
No,
not
but
supposed
it-
to do that.
No, but it's true though.
Okay, that makes
Usually,
sense.
you know, I always encourage people to use the best supplies that they can afford, because it really does have, you know, it does have a benefit to your end product. All right. So with this one, you've got your lock, and you've got your trigger. I've got a heat-resistant surface. If you don't have a cookie sheet, you can use a tile. If you want to do this, make sure you have good ventilation. If you're in the closet and you're tired and you have your baggy clothes on and the hair is just falling around, maybe skip it for the next day. Go into an area where there's good ventilation. We have a fire extinguisher on hand, just so that you know, so that just in case something does happen, we are prepared. So what we'll do is we'll unlock it. Also, you have your flame size adjuster, or fuel regulator. So it's set really high right now, so I'm gonna lower that, just so I don't take off somebody's
You
eyebrows.
start low and then go higher as you need to.
Yes, and because they're head pins and this is fairly thin wire, you won't need a ton of fuel. If you're working with a thicker gauge wire, like 16 or 14, 12, you will need a higher flame, just because you'll need to increase the flame to melt the metal.
Right.
Now, I'm going to, before I start, I'm going to talk about the flame. So the flame comes out of here. This gets hot. Don't touch it. You're going to have some sizzling, not so fun times. There are parts of the flame that you can't see. They're invisible to the eye. The hottest point is the invisible tip right at the tip of the blue flame that you can see. If you have a really bright studio, you might want to lower your lights just a little bit so that you can see that blue flame. If you don't see that blue flame, then maybe do something else. You can buy these on Etsy. Usually we have these in the store. I don't think they're listed online, but if you want some and you're afraid of fire, we can definitely hook you up. All right, so we've unlocked it and we're going to start it.
Not aiming at our friends.
Yes, not burning anybody's eyebrows. So a lot of people will tell you to just put the head pin like this. It's over water and it balls up,
Oh, cool.
and then you just dunk it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
No way.
But one way that I do is that I have several of these lined up and ready to go.
Yeah.
because, when you're in business, you gotta make a dollar count. So I've got a couple lined up that I'm going to do. Now, not all of them will be perfect, so I always suggest people do extra, just in case you're like, that's not perfect. One thing that I will do is that when I start, I hold it horizontally like this, and then it goes a lot faster. That took 2 seconds as opposed to 4 seconds. So, I know, it was that
It was
fast.
that fast. I
You
was
blinked and y'all
I
missed
was
it.
literally stringing a bead and it was like done.
Alright, so I'll do it again.
Do over.
So a lot of times people will hold it like this and allow the gravity of it, kind of because the water wants to stick with it when it's in a liquid form, so it won't ball up,
Okay.
which we'll use. But what we'll do, my technique is I hold it, is that not perpendicular, because that's perpendicular. You hold it like this so that it goes into the flame.
Straight into the flame.
Yeah, and it
Wow.
reduces the surface amount, and so it heats up
physics.
faster.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody could
Somebody
explain
will
this
tell
much
us.
better than me.
It's not going to be me.
It's
I was an
physics,
English major.
not me.
Well, I was an art major. So, you just hold it like so, and then you tilt it up. And then if you hold it and let it cool first, it will change the color of the head pin. So instead of getting
That's
that kind of
cool.
rosy, you'll get an eggplant
The
color.
So it
darker
kind of
color.
oxidizes.
Yeah, that's the fire scale. So once those are cooled, you can fish those out. I always don't dunk your pliers in, because what happens is that water will get into your box hinge. Of course, you're not going to be using these, you're going to be using the tweezers, but just don't dunk your pliers in, because then the water gets in there and then you're like, how come they don't work? It's rusty. All right. And then, so you've got this little ball at the tip, and give your ball a yank. Because if not, sometimes it's hanging on by a
If it's not
thread,
secure.
and you want to make sure that it's really secure. And this is dead soft, so you can either use your fingers or nylon pliers to adjust it. And then you can start stringing away to your heart's content.
So can you use any kind of wire, or do you have to just use a copper or a silver? Like it has to be pure?
So that's a good question, Laurel. So if you use copper or sterling, there'll be little dimples in it. But if you use fine silver, it will be smooth. If you don't like the dimples, then you can sand them or lightly buff them until they become smooth.
So you can't use like a
Crown
wire that's
wire.
colored
The
or
crown.
No.
any of that, because
So-
it'll probably just burn right off. Or it's
Yeah.
just a janky wire.
So usually those are base metal wires,
Base metal.
and they melt at a lower temperature,
Okay.
and so you can have problems. Also, anything that's coated, I do not recommend, just because if it's coated, it's going to burn off